of Vivo IPL between Hyderabad and Bangalore. Both the teams have played their opening fixture. Bangalore, of course, played on the opening night of the season, won against Mumbai in the last, it was a last ball finish. Hyderabad losing their opening game to Kolkata. So what can we expect in this battle of the two South Indian teams? I'm joined by Fantasy Gully analyst Babashish Nanda at this hour. Babashish, welcome to the show. Tell us from the last match that you saw, last two matches of these two teams, who were the top fantasy players?
Thank you so much, Rika. Yes, just look at it and you wonder that there'll be all big names there, but they're not to be. We saw these players who were just stepping up and setting the stage on fire, the likes of Manish Pandey, who got the opportunity to bat for a longer period of time and he just proved and showed his value. And then someone like Harshal Patel, 175 points that Harshal Patel got, it just told everyone that, okay, you just need to watch out for me. Followed by Johnny Bairstow, you expect him to do well, the likes of Mohammad Nabi, and then AB de Villiers and Virat Kohli. Well, you cannot leave them out. De Villiers got about 78 points, Kohli about 65. I'll say that is under par, but they were brilliant.
Tell us about your top 5 fantasy picks for this fixture.
Well, because of that, a couple of players will be repeated in this particular list. We'll start with Bairstow, of course. Bairstow's confidence as just a pure batsman is just starting to show. And so wherever he bats in whatever number is going to get you points. Comes in with a high fantasy gully rating of 9.6, gets you more than 50 points on an average. Followed by David Warner. They say that Warner loves Hyderabad, he loves IPL, he just loves this big stage, and that's why he comes in again, recommended in one of our top picks, followed by that man, Harshal Patel, who worked a lot in the off-season, worked on his fast bowling, worked on his change-ups, and now you can see that result in the ton of fantasy points he's giving you. And then, of course, there's Manish Pandey. Manish Pandey is no more a youngster. He's going to get to 32 in some time. He understands his game brilliantly right now, and you expect him to step up one more gear. And then there's the King Virat Kohli, who's just decided that I'm going to open. The best player should play the most number of deliveries. If he does that, he's a treat to watch.
Interesting you mentioned about Virat Kohli being the king, but there's one person who's consistently troubled King Kohli.
Yes, the King's player, if you can call him. Well, it's very interesting that Sandeep Sharma, when he was in his school in Patiala and he was playing cricket, he was actually a batsman. And then, well, years later, now Sandeep Sharma has got the best batsman in India out 7 times. 7 times in the 55 balls that he's bowled to Virat Kohli. That tells you that he's accurate. He can swing the ball both ways. He's got control. He's economical. Everything that Virat Kohli hates, Sandeep Sharma has. And well, Kohli has to really be switched on when he's facing that new ball against Sandeep Sharma.
But Babashi, don't you think that in this particular fixture, given the experience that they have had in Chennai and having seen the last match, also they will be tempted to bring a spinner, perhaps in place of an Indian spinner in place of Sandeep Sharma to accommodate Jason Holder in the side?
Well, they can, but I think just on the basis of how good Sandeep Sharma has been with that new ball, and of course, you've got to understand that they want to give enough support to Bhuvneshwar Kumar as well. So if someone can set it up along with Bhuvneshwar Kumar with the new ball, they can expect that spin department to still be fine with the likes of Rashid and Nabi. So I have a feeling they'll persist with Sandeep Sharma, but we'll have to wait and watch.
The other person that you spoke about was Johnny Bairstow with very high fantasy rating points. But Trevor Bayliss, the coach, has also said that once Kane Williamson is fit, perhaps it'll be Williamson in place of Bairstow. What do you suggest? How do the fantasy points then change overall?
Well, someone like Bairstow, you got to understand what he brings into the table. He brings in a lot of runs as is. So that's why a very high fantasy gully rating. But what Kane Williamson will get you is consistency. So the second you see a player like Kane Williamson walking in and batting at the top order, you can expect him to go on and score big. But then I guess Sunrisers will have that thinking cap on, because of course Ridhiman Saha, again, someone who comes in with a slightly higher X factor, is giving them that impetus right at the top. So if they want to sacrifice on someone like Besto, they should be happy to do that.
And what about the Bangalore side? Do you see pretty much the same combination going forward? Because one of the changes that everyone's predicting for tonight is perhaps Devdutt Padikkal coming in place of Rajat Patidar.
Oh, absolutely. Devdutt Padikkal is now out of quarantine. These days, when someone is out of quarantine, it's a huge news, let alone if that is Devdutt Padikkal. If he does that, then of course, that is a straight swap for Patidar. Patidar, you got to feel for it. Just got one hit, and you can't really talk about a player after just one knock. But Padikkal, with the class that he's shown in the last season, and most importantly, with Virat Kohli opening, you want someone at the other end who can just bat with him, and Padikkal, no better player than him.
And you think they should be sticking with Maxwell at number 4, or AB coming ahead of Maxwell?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I'm one of the biggest cheerleaders of Glenn Maxwell, and I'll tell you why. I love the X factor that is involved in a player like Glenn Maxwell. Remember, he's so radical that if he bats for 30 balls, Rika, the game is changed. He's going to send the ball out to the boundary again and again, and he's going to take that strike rate, run rate, everything up. Another player in this particular game who has a very high X factor, and you need to watch out for if he gets the deliveries that he wants, is Mohammad Azharuddin. Now, Azharuddin scored a 37-ball 100 in Syed Mustaq Ali. That is how good he is. So if these two players, or if any one of these players, and their X factor comes into the game, it's going to be fun to watch, and it's just going to be brilliant.
And would you say there are any other X factor players in this game?
Well, I mean, I would say that the biggest of the lot is Glenn Maxwell, to be honest, because where they're batting him right now, they're giving him a lot of game time. And Virat Kohli is someone who understands good amount of off-spin bowling as well. So if Maxwell gets a few overs, then nothing like it as well.
And in a fantasy team, one always looks to have some value or budget players. Who are those budget players, you think?
Spot on, Rika. You need, when you have these big guns to fill the next few slots, you want people who are value for money, who give you higher value for lower credit. So someone like Abdul Samad, I mean, it comes in with just 8 credits, but he's someone who bats down the order. If he gets enough deliveries, he's a lovely power hitter, safe hands on the field as well, followed by Vijay Shankar. I mentioned Manish Pandey. Got to understand, Vijay Shankar is no more a youngster. It's been ages since he got into that World Cup side and got out. So Vijay Shankar has to step up and prove his mettle. As far as Bangalore are concerned, well, Washington Sundar, unfortunately, with Padikkal coming in, he has to bat down the order. He's still a very decent bowler. So, yeah, he's one of them, followed by Kyle Jemison. These are your value picks.
And finally, give us your fantasy team for the day.
Well, I mean, such is the game that you got to understand that you always go with Bairstow and De Villiers as your keepers. That's a very safe choice to go with. However, the toss goes. Your batsmen, again, they pick themselves. The likes of Warner, Manish Pandey, Kohli, and Padikkal walks in, of course, in that team. The all-rounders, I mean, you shouldn't look beyond someone like Mohammad Nabi with whatever he's done so far. And your bowlers, you got to be very sure with what are the bowlers you're going with. Someone like Harshal Patel, Rashid Khan, or someone like even T. Natarajan. They are pretty good right up there as well.
Right. So that's the team that we are putting out as a predictor. If you are making your own team, you can take these tips, and for all the predictions, all that you need to know, you can switch on to ndtv.com /IPL or fantasygully.com. Thank you very much for joining us.
Excellent.